Creepy photos that will give 99% of you chills, part 6. Jodi Arias took this photo of her ex-boyfriend, Travis Alexander, just before stabbing him multiple times and finishing him off with a gunshot to the head. 14-year-old Keith Sapsford hid in the wheel of a plane going from Sydney to Japan. John Gilspin was testing his new camera lens when he accidentally took a picture of Keith Sapsford 200-foot fall to death. This is Paul Walker climbing into the car that crashed moments later, killing him and the driver back in 2013. This is a picture of a little girl taken on a hunter's trail camera in the middle of the woods with 2 deers. The next morning, the hunter went out to go look for the girl, but all he found was her dirty blanket. This is a picture of a girl who went to go visit her twin sister's grave, who died by getting hit by a car. But it looks like the little girl's twin sister was still there with her. Spine-tingling photos taken just before tragedy, part 1. This is a picture of the crew of the Space Shuttle Challenger on their way to board. The shuttle broke apart 73 seconds into flight, killing all 7 crew members on board. This unsuspecting family captured the last moments of Ayano Takusamu's life. The 20-year-old student in the red sweater threw herself over the railings at the Niagara Falls to her death moments after this photo was taken. The 2 brothers in this picture are enjoying the effects of an electrical storm, but moments after this picture was taken, they were both struck by lightning. While they both survived, the brother on the left, whose name is Sean, suffered severe burns in the freak accident, and eventually they took his life. This man is posing with an animal he just shot and killed, but the man has no idea that a mountain lion is lurking behind him. The man was attacked and killed by the mountain lion, and this photo captures his final seconds of life. Spine-tingling photos taken just before tragedy, part 2. This is William Sanders. He was a teacher at the Columbine High School, and in this photo, he is guiding more than 100 students out of the cafeteria during the Columbine High School massacre. He was later shot twice in the chest and he did not survive, but he also saved countless students. This is Giles Leclerc and Marina Lebany. They took a selfie at a concert they were at together, and seconds after this picture was taken, 4 gunmen stormed in and started shooting everywhere. Giles was killed in the attack, who was on the left, and Marina survived. This tall wind turbine caught fire, trapping 2 engineers on top who were working on it. This photo shows the 2 people hugging just before one jumped to their death, and the other one stayed at the top and burned to death. This woman was standing in a pond, but she did not notice the big alligator right behind her. The alligator then attacked her, and it damaged her leg so badly that she had to get it amputated. Spine-tingling photos taken just before tragedy, part 3. This junior ice hockey team from Canada, the Humboldt Broncos, were on their way to a game when their bus got hit by a truck going 62 miles an hour. The crash killed 16 people, 14 of them were coaches and players. This is the last photo ever taken of the team. This man was enjoying surfing at the beach one day, but he could have never imagined what would happen to him. When the man was hitting this wave, he did not notice the shark in front of him. The man then fell off his surfboard, and the shark then attacked and killed the man. Robert Overraker was trying to raise money for the homeless, so he jet skied off the Niagara Falls as a stunt to raise money. But sadly, Robert's parachute failed to open, and he then fell to his death. This man, Maxoon Khan, jumped into a tiger's cage at a zoo. As the tiger stared at Khan, bystanders started throwing rocks and garbage at the tiger, which only upset the tiger, causing it to attack Khan. Khan did not survive the injuries, and he later died. These are the most scariest planets to ever exist, part 1. This is Korat 7b. This planet's atmosphere is filled with minerals that form rock clouds. This means on this planet it rains rocks. Also, on one side of this planet, it constantly faces a star, and the temperature is 3600 degrees. This is HD 189 733b, and this planet is extremely deadly. The wind on this planet reaches speeds of 5400 miles per hour. And if that's not scary enough, it also rains glass on this planet. So imagine getting hit by a piece of glass coming at you over 5,000 miles per hour. This is Tres 2b. This is the darkest planet in the whole universe. This planet's atmosphere absorbs 99% of the light it receives from the sun. It's so dark on this planet that if you held your hand out in front of you, you wouldn't even be able to see it. Also, the temperature on this planet is over 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Spine-tingling photos taken just before tragedy, part 4. This 18-year-old Russian girl would climb very dangerous heights to get the perfect selfie. But in this photo, she climbed a 30-foot tall bridge, and then after this picture was taken, she fell to her death. but it wasn't the fall that killed her. But while she was falling, she tried to grab onto the wires of the bridge and ended up getting electrocuted by 1500 volts. This man was going for a walk in the woods when he saw a black bear approaching him. Moments after this picture was taken, the man was brutally attacked by this bear and killed. The man's phone was located in the woods, completely covered in teeth marks. This is Sydney Loof, posting a selfie on her Snapchat story before she went on a date. She was then tragically killed that night by her date. She had bruises all over her body and she was strangled to death. She went on this date excited to start a new future, but instead her future got cut short. Spine-tingling photos taken just before tragedy, part 5. Dave Haley took one last photo of his wife and 4-year-old daughter before taking off for their dream vacation aboard MH17, shortly before it was shot down over Ukraine by Russian-led forces, killing everybody on board. This is John Lennon signing an autograph for a fan. The fan was Mark Chapman on the right, and a few hours later, that same fan shot John Lennon, killing him. This photo just looks like a normal stain, but it's much more chilling. This is a shadow outline of a person who was instantly disintegrated by the nuclear bombs dropped on Hiroshima. This is 13-year-old girl Myra Sanchez. She was trapped in debris from a volcano destroying her village in 1985. Rescue workers tried to get her out, but it was impossible. She was being held down by heavy objects, and her dead grandma's arms were wrapped around her legs. Omaira died after enduring 55 hours of being neck deep in filthy water. Spine-tingling photos taken just before tragedy, part 6. A dash cam captures moments before Flight 235 crashed into the Kulong River in Taiwan. The plane carried 58 people and only 15 survived the crash. Giles Leclerc and Marianne Lebanon took a selfie at the Bataclan Theater while waiting for a band to play. Moments after this picture was taken, 4 gunmen stormed the theater and started shooting. Giles was killed, who was on the left, and Marianne survived. This is the last moments of the gorilla named Harambe. After a kid fell into the enclosure of the gorilla, he started touching him and pulling him. And moments later, Harambe was then shot to death. This photo shows parkour enthusiast Pavel Kashin performing the trick that would lead to his death. He's pictured here attempting to do a backflip on the edge of the building, but he would lose his balance and fall to the ground below, killing him on impact. Creepy facts that will give 99% of you chills, part 1. If you ever get your head decapitated, you actually won't die immediately, because a human head remains conscious for around 20 seconds after being decapitated. If you're a righty and you wish you were a lefty, this will change your mind. Left-handed people actually die 3 years earlier than right-handed people. If you wake up from sleeping in the middle of the night, this means that your brain alerted you that someone or something is watching you. So next time you wake up in the middle of the night, a ghost could be watching you. You should always be careful who you walk by, because the average person walks past a murderer at least 36 times in their life. Creepy facts that will give 99% of you chills, part 2. More people die every year from taking selfies than are killed in shark attacks. So next time you are taking a selfie, be aware of your surroundings and be careful. Refrigerator doors are magnetic because children used to die inside them while playing hide and seek. These older model refrigerators could only be opened from the outside. So when the children hid in them and shut the door, there was no way of them getting out and they died. The reason why dogs love squeaky toys so much, because it triggers an ancestral instinct that reminds them of a whimpering prey. So next time you see your dog chewing on a squeaky toy, it actually thinks it's chewing on a dying animal crying for its life. People who spend more than 2 hours a day in front of a screen actually make their lives 1.4 years shorter. So I think some of us have to get off our phones for a little bit. Creepy photos that will give 99% of you chills, part 7. Back in December of 2004, there was a massive earthquake that caused a deadly tsunami that killed over 200,000 people. This 31-year-old, Deborah Garlick, was on vacation in Thailand at the time. She later lost her life in the tsunami, and when her parents received her stuff, they found this photo, which was likely taken moments before the tsunami hit. This is Carl Walenda. He was a tightrope walker and very good at it. But when he was 73, he tumbled 120 feet to his death in between 2 hotels in Puerto Rico. This photo captures him right before he fell. This photo looks like a normal selfie, but it's not. Right after this picture was taken, the girl on the left, whose name is Cheyenne, strangled her friend to death on the right. She blamed it on being too drunk, but she was found guilty and served 7 years in prison. This photo was taken in Oregon a couple days ago. It looks like it's photoshopped, but it's not. The fires are so bad there that it actually looks like they're living in hell. Creepy facts that will give 99% of you chills, part 3. There are microscopic mites that live on your eyelashes. Teeny tiny little mites are by your eyes at all times, eating, mating, and pooping. In rare instances, dead women can give birth. It's called coffin birth and can happen when a pregnant corpse releases gases while decomposing what expels the dead fetus out. This can happen within 48 to 72 hours of the mom's death. Every single year, we unknowingly pass the anniversary of the day we die. So throughout your whole lifetime, you pass the day you die on every single year. If you try and hold in a sneeze, you can rupture a blood vessel in your neck or head and immediately die. So next time you have to sneeze, don't even think about holding it in. These are the most scariest phone numbers to call, part 3. Up first is 1000-000-0000. This is a very cursed number, and it is said when you call it, a male voice starts screaming at you and threatening you, and tells you to give the number to 15 other people. If you don't agree with him, and you don't do what he asks, you will die within a week. The next number is 666. If you call the number 666, you will contact the devil. Countless people have tried this, and everyone has different experiences to tell. Some say nothing happens when they called it. Other people say they hear very creepy music, and also satanic noises. If you were curious enough to call this number, brace yourself, and be careful of the after effects of calling this number. Anything can happen to you. This is the creepy story about the baby's first words. There was a woman named Mary who had a 19-month-old baby girl. She loved her baby and couldn't wait for her to say her first words. One night when Mary was cooking dinner, her husband called her out into the living room. He said their daughter was trying to say something. After the baby mumbled for a bit, she then said, "Mama dies." Mary looked at her husband in confusion, thinking she heard the baby wrong, but by the look on his face, he heard the same thing. The couple laughed it off and went on with their night. The next morning when Mary was on her way to work, she got into a fatal car accident. She was then rushed to the hospital where her daughter and husband were waiting for her. When the husband and daughter went into the room Mary was in, Mary's daughter pointed at her and said, "Mama dies." Then a couple seconds later, Mary died from her injuries. This is the creepy story about the dirty room. There was a girl named Beth, and her mom kept telling her to clean her room because she hadn't cleaned it in months. Beth said she didn't want to, and that she would do it tomorrow. Her mom rolled her eyes and said okay. That night, Beth was watching TV in bed and she fell asleep. Beth woke up the next morning and realized her vision was black. She couldn't see a thing and she began to scream. Her mom then came running in the room and Beth told her that she just woke up and she cannot see a thing. Her mom then immediately took her to the hospital. When the doctor looked at Beth's eyes, he immediately said, "Beth, you got bit by a spider in both of your eyes and you will never be able to see again." Beth immediately started to cry and couldn't believe she was going to be blind. The doctor then looked at Beth's mom and said, "Does your daughter have a messy room?" Her mom said yes. Why? The doctor then said, "That's probably why she got bit by a spider in her eyes, because spiders love to populate messy rooms." Creepy photos that will give 99% of you chills, part 8. This is Annalise Michelle. She underwent a total of 67 Catholic exorcism sessions, all within 10 months, and died of dehydration and malnutrition. In this photo, Annalise was possessed and was undergoing an exorcism. This group of friends took this group photo seconds before a bomb went off from inside the gold car in the background. None of the 4 friends survived, and their last photo together was pure happiness. This is a picture of Jesse McBain and his girlfriend Patricia Main on Valentine's Day in 1971, and this was the last time they were ever seen alive. Days after they went missing, a man found both of their bodies in the woods with their hands tied behind their backs, and they had been tortured to death side by side. This is Joseph Goebbels, one of Hitler's most devout followers and closest friend. This photo captures the exact moment that he was told that his photographer was Jewish. The look on his face is truly chilling. Creepy facts that will give 99% of you chills, part 4. At least once a day, your immune system destroys a cell that would have become cancer if it lived. This is a very scary true fact. The feeling you get in your stomach when you are on a roller coaster is your organs floating around inside of you. So next time you say you enjoy that feeling, you should definitely rethink it. 15% of the matter you breathe in outside is dead human skin. So every time you go outside, you are breathing in some stranger's dead skin. Wasps can remember people's faces. So if you ever get a wasp mad and you run away thinking you're safe, the wasp will remember your face and attack you next time he sees you. As recently as the 1980s, many researchers and doctors believed that babies couldn't feel pain, so they operated on them without any anesthesia. This is the scary story about the hacker. There was a man named Alex who was a hacker. One night he was trying to hack some stranger's computer, and when he finally did, he granted himself access to the computer's webcam. Alex then saw a girl sitting in the computer chair crying. She looked very scared and Alex knew something was wrong. Then suddenly a man came up behind the girl and started rubbing her head. Then he took out a knife and slit the girl's throat. The man then dropped the knife and ran out of the room. Alex watched in horror as this girl choked on her own blood, dying in front of him. Alex couldn't even call the police because what he was doing was very illegal. All Alex could do was watch this poor girl die slowly in front of him. This is the very cursed Chinese wedding photo. This photo was taken in 1922 in a small village in China. The girl was 17 years old and came from a rich family, and the young man was 19 years old and was very popular with the ladies. They got engaged and were about to get married, but before the wedding ceremony, the girl caught a fever and died. Her grieving family insisted that the young man would go along with the marriage, despite the fact that their daughter is dead. He then decided to run away and join the army instead. But the girl's family had a lot of power and influence, and they forced the man to return and go along with the wedding ceremony. When this photo was taken, it was midnight and the girl had been dead for 6 days. If you look closely, you can notice that the girl's feet aren't even touching the ground. They say that if you stare at the photo long enough, you will see the girl smile back at you, and if you do see her smile, bad things will happen to you. Serial Killer's Last Words, Part 3. This is Timothy McVeigh. He is responsible for the Oklahoma City bombing that killed over 168 people in 1995. He was executed by lethal injection in 2001. His final words were, "I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul." This is James Jackson. He killed his wife and his 2 stepdaughters. He was executed by lethal injection in 2007. His final words were, "See you on the other side. Warden, murder me. I'm ready to roll. Time to get this party started." This is Carlos Granados. He stabbed his girlfriend Kathy Jimenez to death and killed her 3-year-old son. He was executed by lethal injection in 2007. His final words were, "Kathy, you know I never meant to hurt you. I gave you everything, and that's what made me so angry. But I never meant to hurt you. I'm sorry." This is the disturbing truth about the house that could bleed. Just before midnight on September 8th, 1987, an elderly couple discovered blood on floors and lower walls of the home they rented in Atlanta, Georgia. Unable to find where it was coming from, 77-year-old Minnie Winston and 79-year-old William Winston contacted the police. Blood was found on the bathroom floor and walls, in the kitchen, living room, the hallways, bedroom, and basement, and even the crawl space. The Winstons were the only people that lived in the house. The police couldn't find where the blood was coming from and took samples to go and test it. It was definitely blood and it was type O. Minnie and William were type A. No more blood was found, and police then closed the investigation. The source of the blood was never found. Some theories claim that a serial killer hid the bodies of his victims in the walls, and over time their blood seeped through the walls. Others believe that the house was experiencing very disturbing paranormal activity. None of these could be proven, so we will never know for sure. This is the scary story about the sleeping mom. There was a young girl who got up one morning and went to her mom's room to wake her up. But after calling her name multiple times, the girl assumed she was sleeping and left to go to school. At school, the girl tried texting her mom multiple times, trying to see if she was up yet, but her mom didn't answer. The girl got out of school, she rushed home, and went straight to her mother's room. Her mom was still lying in bed. The girl then went over to her and shook her body, but she didn't wake up. The girl then rolled over her body and saw a horrible sight. Her mom's throat had been slit, and she was dead. The girl then started crying hysterically. Then she heard footsteps behind her, and a man whisper, "It took you long enough to notice. Now it's your turn." This man claims to be a time traveler, and what he says will happen will blow your mind. This man, known as Edward, was an engineer in a laboratory in Los Angeles when he took part in an experiment and traveled to the year 5000 to take photos. He's now back and is sharing with us what would happen in the years to come. Edward has a picture of Los Angeles that he took in the future, and the whole city is completely underwater. He said the melting of ice caps due to global warming will cause the city to disappear underwater. He said he was standing on a huge wooden platform with many other people, houses, buildings, and everything was made of wood. He said the whole world would be underwater and not just Los Angeles, because when the ice caps melted, It raised the sea level tremendously. This is really scary if it's true, and if it is, we must become good swimmers. These are the scariest foods to eat in the world, part 3. Up first is fried rats. These are super popular in Thailand. People like the texture and the flavor of these. They say they eat these rats to control the rodent population, but eating rats is pretty creepy. Up next is a still beating cobra heart. They say eating this helps you with your senses, and the people who eat this say it's very delicious. But after you eat this, you can still hear the heart beating in your stomach for several minutes. Next is wasp crackers. This is a cookie with wasps, and they say as you eat this, the stingers of the wasps can still sting while you're eating it. Now that is super scary. Finally is fried grasshoppers. People season these with salt, pepper, and chili, and then they get fried. And as you bite into it, a lot of juice squirts out, and apparently it tastes like popcorn. This is the disturbing truth about North Sentinel Island. This is North Sentinel Island. It is one of the Andaman Islands, located in the Bay of Bengal. This island is home to the Sentinelese, who are a tribe of people in voluntary isolation who have rejected, often violently, any contact with the outside world. They are the last people on Earth to remain untouched by modern civilization. The Sentinelese have killed multiple people, including attacking an approaching vessel, killing 2 fishermen, and a United States missionary in 2018. If you go anywhere near this island, the Sentinelese will hunt you down and kill you if you don't leave. North Sentinel Island belongs to India, but Indian authorities recognize the Sentinelese desire to be left alone, and they do not prosecute them for killing people. The Sentinelese tribe is the most dangerous tribe in the whole world. So if you ever want to go visit North Sentinel Island, just be prepared to get shot with multiple arrows. Creepy facts that will give 99% of you chills, part 5. If humans killed each other at the same rate that we kill animals, then we would be extinct in 17 days. This is interesting, but also very chilling. After the Pulse nightclub shooting, when the cops were investigating, there were countless phones ringing next to the victims' dead bodies, and it was their loved ones and friends calling them, hoping they would answer and say that they're okay. According to the FBI, over 40% of murders go unsolved, meaning if you get killed, there's a pretty good chance that the person that killed you will never spend a day in jail. If you live to become the oldest person alive, this means the entire human population has been replaced in your lifetime except for you. Humans have enough bite power to bite off their own finger, the bone and all. But the only thing stopping us is our brain's natural safety factor. Now don't get any ideas to go try this, because you will be missing a finger. This is the scary game to play in real life called the Elevator Game. The Elevator Game is a creepy paranormal game that allows you to go to another dimension. To play this game, you need a building with an elevator with at least 10 floors. To start the game, you get on the elevator on the first floor and you must be alone. Then go to the following floors in order: the 4th, 2nd, 6th, 2nd, and 10th. If someone gets in while you're doing this, the ritual will not work. Next, go to the 5th floor. The doors will then open. A woman will get in the elevator with you. Do not talk to her. As soon as she gets on, press the button for the 1st floor, but instead of going to the 1st floor, the elevator will take you to the 10th. Now you are in the different dimension. What happens from there on is unknown, but one thing is for certain. The person who came aboard the elevator on the 5th floor is not human. People who completed the ritual said you have to perform the ritual in reverse to get back to your world. But it's not guaranteed. And it's very easy to get lost in this dimension, and multiple people are still stuck there to this day. This is the scary game to play in real life called the Fortune Game. The Fortune Game is a paranormal Japanese ritual that is very terrifying. To play the Fortune Game, all you need is a comb and something to cover your face. To start the game, you take the comb and go to a crossroads at night. Then rub your fingers along the comb 3 times. You then will say to Sujiyora, grant me a true response 3 times. You then will wait for a stranger to pass by. It must be a stranger, and it cannot be somebody that you already know. When you see a stranger approaching, cover your face with something, then ask the stranger to tell you your fortune. If the stranger doesn't answer or refuses to tell you, then you will have to wait for another stranger to pass by. But when a stranger does answer your fortune, it is either a ghost or the devil himself, and the stranger will then tell you your future. Many people who play this game committed suicide after playing because they did not like the prediction of the future they were given. This is the scary story about the park. There was a girl named Anna who was walking around a park one day when she saw a man carrying a woman, and he also had a kid right next to him. Anna thought it was odd that a man was carrying a full-grown woman around the park, so she went up to him and asked if everything was okay. The man said that it was his wife, and that she was sick and tired, but she was fine. Anna then said I hope she feels better and then walked away. Anna then sat down on a bench nearby, and a couple minutes later, the man's child came running over to her and said, "Mommy's dead. Daddy killed Mommy. He's been carrying her dead body around the park all day." Anna sat there in shock as the man came over and got his kid, with his dead wife still slung over his shoulders. This is the untold truth about Talking Angela. Talking Angela started as a mobile phone app used by a lot of children. Angela is a white cat with blue eyes who has conversations with you and can answer any questions that you ask her. But recently, Talking Angela turned into an app to spy on young children. It's said that the app has been taken over by a creepy man or a creepy group. It's said that if you're over 18, nothing happens. But if you're younger than that, the cat starts asking you very weird questions. Like, where do you live? What is your parents' names? And what is your phone number? The creepy man or the group are able to take videos and pictures of you through your own phone. Also, if you zoom in on Angela's eye, you can see a man watching you. This one time, there was this girl who decided to lie about her age, and she said that she was 30 years old. And to her horror, the cat responded with, "That's a lie. You're about 11 or 12 years old." And the cat was right. Also, a young boy named Eli went missing shortly after downloading the app, and he was never found. This is the scary story about the surgery. There was a man named Jerry who got into a car accident. He was in critical condition and badly hurt, but the person he hit was a young 16-year-old girl who died on impact. Jerry was then rushed to the hospital and immediately got put in the surgery. They then put Jerry to sleep and began working on him. But as they started working on him, Jerry realized that he was not asleep. He felt every single thing that the surgeons were doing to him, and he heard everything. But he couldn't open his eyes, move, or talk. He was in agonizing pain and wanted to die or for it to just be over. After about an hour-long surgery, they finally finished. Jerry then finally woke up fully and began telling the surgeons that he felt everything and heard everything while they were working on him. The surgeon then looked at him with an evil look on his face and said, "That girl you killed in the car crash was my daughter. So I gave you the right amount of dosage to keep you awake so you would feel everything. I wanted you to feel the same pain my daughter felt." This is the scary game to play in real life called Many Hands. Many Hands is a scary paranormal game that allows you to summon a demon from hell. To play the game, all you need is a front yard or a backyard. To start the game, you need to go out in your yard at night and it must be pitch dark. Then you will sit on the ground and then say out loud, "I welcome you here, demon," 5 times. Then close your eyes. Do not open your eyes until you hear the demon talk to you. The demon will then ask you why did you summon it, and if you had a good reason why you did, the demon will give you or tell you whatever you wanted. But if your reason for summoning the demon is not good enough, the demon will then disappear, and then countless arms will come up from the ground and drag you to eternal darkness, where you will stay for eternity. This is a scary story about the walk. There was a boy named Ben who went for a walk in the woods. He then picked a spot and sat down to eat some of the snacks that he brought with him. He then got a call from his mom. She was asking how the walk was and telling him that dinner was ready and he should come home. Ben was about to reply when he saw a big grizzly bear come out from out of the bushes. Ben dropped his phone as the bear jumped at him. Ben's mom was screaming through the phone, saying, "Ben, what is going on?" But all she could hear was her son's desperate cries and chilling screams as he was being ripped apart by a grizzly bear piece by piece. This is the disturbing truth about the I Feel Fantastic video. The I Feel Fantastic video was uploaded to YouTube in 2009. It is known for a creepy robot named Tara who sings through a voice simulating program. But this video has a very sinister backstory. The man who made this video's name is Jon Bergeron, and he murdered a woman named Tara. And in the video, the camera zooms in on the spot where he buried her body. He also puts the victim's clothes on Tara the robot and puts her in the same weird positions that he put his victim in. It is said the reason Jon Bergeron made this video was either to taunt the viewers with clues about the real Tara's fate, or he was tormented by his horrible deed and wanted to be caught. Nobody has heard of Jon Bergeron since this video, and his whereabouts are unknown. Now this is Tara the robot singing I Feel Fantastic. I feel fantastic. Hey, hey, hey. This is the scary story about the basketball. There was a boy who went to a park to play basketball. The court was empty and he was excited to have it to himself. Suddenly a man came and started shooting around. The man's ball was flat and asked the boy if he could play with him. The boy said yes. They shot around together for a while when suddenly the boy's ball went flat. The man then said, "Don't worry, I have a ball in my trunk, go and get it." The boy reluctantly said okay. When he got to the man's car and opened the trunk, he froze in horror. There were countless young boys' severed heads in the trunk, just sitting in blood. When the boy looked up, the man was sprinting at him. The man then began to chase the boy, but the boy was much faster and he got away, and he then called the police. The police found the man and searched his car, and found 8 severed heads of missing boys, with no bodies anywhere. The police then told the boy, "You were going to be next if you didn't get away."